2. Hi. It's 2 p.m. I am sitting at this bar again, wondering if the rain will ever stop. British weather doing the best it can. They walk into town, it's 3 p.m. at the Whiskey Jar. Business lunches haven't got very far. Thought that I just saw your face again outside of the window pane. I guess not, I'll keep drinking, 'cause here at the Whiskey Jar, where people come and friendships go. We're at the Whiskey Jar, where Friday's fast and Sunday's slow. Here at the Whiskey Jar, I know that I could just be myself. Have another drink at 6 p.m. Musicians walking, hoping to make friends. I am still sitting at that bar. To be honest, I haven't gotten very far. The place begins to fill, it's 8 p.m. at the Whiskey Jar. Joe is tuning up his old guitar. People fill this place from near and far. Tuesday nights have never been so good. Lively crowd indeed, 'cause here at the Whiskey Jar, where people come and friendships go. We're at the Whiskey Jar, where Friday's fast and Sunday's slow. Here at the Whiskey Jar, I know that I can just be myself. Just have another drink, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. It's 10 p.m. Feels like we are all best friends again. Another drink and shut the fuck up. Listen to the artist play a tune. She's so nervous when in this room. But every note she sings, it's like an angel calling. Rapturous applause, 11 p.m. at the Whiskey Jar. Business class, or are they chandeliers? We're getting crazy now, a little hazy, finishing your beers. And I can really feel my legs. We can't stay here, but the party never ends. So pack up your things, your partner lends you a hand to help you out there, dog. 'Cause here at the Whiskey Jar, where people come and friendships go. We're at the Whiskey Jar, where Friday's fast and Sunday's slow. Here at the Whiskey Jar, I know that I can just be myself. Let's have another drink, yeah. Here at the Whiskey Jar, where people come and friendships go. We're at the Whiskey Jar, Friday's fast and Sunday slow. Here at the Whiskey Jar, I know that I can just be myself. Let's have another drink, yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from. This is JP. Welcome to Tuesday Tunes. We haven't done Tuesday Tunes in a while. We did obviously play last Tuesday, obviously to look at this looper as I very calmly take my headphones. And you know what? I'm going to try and put them there somewhere. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're watching or listening from, say hi in the chat. This chat that's next to me here is a multi-chat, and we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and X. Twitter and X. No. Twitch and X. Twitter as well. So there we go. Hi from Wisconsin. Very enough. Lovely, nice. Thank you very much. That song is called Whiskey Jar. That song is going to be out soon. There's a place in Manchester which is called the Whiskey Jar, and that's where this song is about. It's about where I met, had my first date with my wife, my now wife, and it's a very, very special place. And the Whiskey Jar have an amazing open mic night, and with the lovely host Joe McAdam, and Joe has very kindly sung on the track as well, because it's about his open mic night as much as it is the Whiskey Jar, and that tune is hopefully going to be out next month. So there we go. I just thought I'd play it. And underneath here at the moment is the Sheeran Looper Plus. I've just brought out a video which is about how to connect MIDI to this, and that's what I've done. This is the Morningstar MC6 Pro, and we've still got the external pedal as well, so I thought I'd put everything down on the table, as it were, just to showcase what you could do. This is Tuesday Tunes, so what we normally do on Tuesday Tunes is we actually play a song, and then I'm going to break it down and show you how I loop it. Couple of things to get out of the way before we get going. You may notice there is a brand new thing on the live stream, if you're familiar with my live streams, which is this thing scrolling at the bottom of the screen here. It's a ticker. We are currently doing 20% off all my courses. So to get 20% off all my courses, basically what you need to do is get the code, which is Spring 2024. Go to my website, johnpaulmusic.co.uk. You've got until the 31st of March, when spring ends and British summertime begins. So you're going to get 20% off all my courses. So that's the RC500 course, the RC600 course, How to Loop Like a Pro. Technically, How to Loop Like a Pro, if you actually go onto it right now, you can actually get it for $119 as opposed to $149 with the code Loop Like a Pro. So there's two codes. Pick whichever one is going to be best for you. But the other thing as well is this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. They're a music distribution company. They help me release loads of music. We're going to release Whiskey Jar with them as well. And they normally charge basically a subscription, where most places charge you every time you release music. So that way you can actually just pay one price and release as much music as you want to. So with that QR code, it's also gone in the chat as well. Then you can scan that or click it. It's also in the description box on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll give you 7% off by clicking the link and signing up. That helps me out, but obviously no extra cost to you. In fact, it saves you money by releasing as much music as you want to. So thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this live stream. Right then, what I'm going to do is, hi, 35 miles of lead. How are we doing? Hope we're doing well. So what we're going to do is, as I say, basically Tuesday Tunes is all about the tunes themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how I actually broke this down. So it's quite a simple loop, actually. It's only 3 chords all the way through. I'll put these back on. Only because my ears are getting warm. There we go. I can actually hear myself now. And this loop actually is 2 loops. So this fits the Sheeran Looper Plus really well. Been playing with it for about a week now, and it's over a week now, and it's really nice. I'm really liking it. Hi, Jake. 35 miles of Jake. I do like the name though, 35 miles of lead. I can't say it properly. I can't lead. It's lead, right? I just keep going 35 miles of lead. So there we go. Cool, wicked, excellent, no problem. So this loop, sorry, I'm all over the place. So this is basically in normal tuning. This is Lucky Lime. You can't see, that's lime colour there, a dark colour lime. Actually named by someone else, not me. So we're in C, G, and we just drop it down there basically to the F sharp. I want to say F sharp. Yes, F sharp, but keep the bottom bit of the G. Someone will tell me it's like a sus4 or something. You'll tell me what it is. Let me go back to there. It's a nice little sort of ditty, which is quite cool. So the first part of this is the beat. Now, if you haven't yet watched it, I put this video up about how to connect a MIDI pedal to the Sheeran Looper Plus, and I'm using the Morningstar MC6 Pro, and I've decided to put things like solo each track on here. This one's undo redo. I'm just looking down now. This is the change. So if I actually move it over, you can see on the Sheeran Looper, you just press it. It moves between the tracks, which is nice and simple. It's quite easy. This is a fade, which is quite nice. And then you've got clear as well. So when you hit clear, it just clears one track. And then you go over and clear the other track. You can do a thing on the looper that we found out on the live stream last week. If you hold this down, hold the stop button down, it'll clear the track. And then it'll clear the other one if you keep it held down, which is really useful. So how this starts, if I was to mute B by soloing A, how it starts is this. A little bit swingy there. And if I was to go the other way around, so that means it starts with me going it carries on. And then of course just playing. We add them together. And then you can stop it from there. So that is a real simple way of playing it, and that is Whiskey Jar. That is pretty much the whole song. Obviously, the studio version's got lots of things in it, and sounds like a whole band and everything else. But and there we go. So that is how I actually play Whiskey Jar with a looper. And of course you don't need to, I can obviously put this on the RC600, or I could put it on, the Head Rush or whatever, and I could just break it all out. But actually what you can do, of course, is you can split things up. Now I did another video about having 4 tracks on a 2-track looper. What we're very cleverly doing there is we're doing an undo. So what we can do is we can undo the last recording. So if I go over to track B, we did the undo. We can all bring it back down. So there's loads of different ways to do that. Obviously, because it's such a short loop, the nice thing about it is you can obviously play around with it a little bit. But yeah, that is Whiskey Jar, which is going to come out in April. We're nearly ready with it, so it's going to be fun. So to erase this, what I can do is I've got one of 2 options. So of course I put clear on the MC6 Pro. And if you notice, if I just tap it, it clears that track straight away. And then I have to go over to the other one and clear it. Now, the reason why I've done this is because actually you can do the same just by holding this one down. But the fact is, I don't want to hold it down. I just want to tap it. So if I tap it, and the great thing is I can keep the beat. So if I was to actually have a beat with 2 songs that's very similar, then of course I could erase the chords and play something else. So it depends. Jesus loves you more, you will know. You know that song, don't you? Now, I don't want to get a copyright strike. I probably already have by this point because the algorithms are that quick. AI's already got me. But there we go. Say hello in the chat, which is across here. And obviously, it's a multi-chat. So if you're on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitter or on X, then it should come up here. I know the first three does. I don't know about X. And we'll have a chat, and then let me know if you've got any questions about looping. Tuesday Tunes is about obviously playing tunes and looping them. But if you've got questions, then obviously put them in put them in the chat. We'll have a conversation about it. It's very warm in this room, so I'm just gonna have a drink. And there we go. That's a interesting statement. The Boss RC 500, in my opinion, has too many kits with a double bass kick on them. Yes, I know what you mean by that. You mean sort of like a do-do. Do you mean like that, or do you mean like a double bass kick? Like it's too complex, right? You know, want a simpler beat. I really wish Boss would actually change the 500 and the 5 so you can actually use the RC rhythm converter. That'd be really good to actually build your own beats to do SMF files. It never will happen because they've got to fundamentally change the engine for that to happen. So that was only brought in with the 505 Mark II and the 600. So the 505 Mark II and the 600 can actually bring in MIDI, standard MIDI file, SMF files. So it would be really, really good if it did that. But unfortunately it doesn't. But of course you could always use one of the loops to create your beat or import a beat, but then you're losing one of the tracks, as it were. But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, the first yeah, the first one you did. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of them with the doubles. It's yeah, it depends on what you want to do. So there you go. I always find with this guitar that if I put the capo there, little bit out of tune. As soon as you go to the third one, like super, like blah, blah, blah. So there we go. So good evening, everyone. If you're tuning in right now, see what I did there? Tuning in. This is JP. Welcome to Tuesday Tunes with JP. What we do in Tuesday Tunes is we play a song and then I break it down how I play it. Now, I'm not telling you that's how you should play it. I'm just saying that's how I play it. Take it or leave it. Take some notes, take some instruction, or go, no, JP, that's not what I want to do. It's entirely up to you. Or if you're just here for entertainment, that's absolutely fine. At the bottom of this screen, you will see a ticker going across because I'm putting it there for the entirety of the live stream because right now, to celebrate the end of spring and the beginning of longer days in summer, then we're giving 20% off all my courses, the RC500, the RC600, and how to loop like a pro with the code SPRING2024. Just go to my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk, and then put in, basically pick a course, and then you can put in 20% off. So yeah, so just wanted to obviously let you be aware of that. You've got until 31st of March, and then obviously on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, it disappears. Haha. Now, for those who are actually kind of familiar with my live streams, familiar with my channel and my playing, you may very well know that obviously I mainly start with sort of some kind of rhythmic strumming. I don't use rhythm tracks or anything like that. So we're talking about obviously talking about the kits there. But yeah, I actually don't use them. I actually just kind of make my own beatboxy noises. But that does take up one of the loops, of course. So if you of course use a kit, then you've still got 2 loops available to you. However, it's just the way I've always done it. And I'm in my mid-40s. I'm not going to change now. I may change. You never know. But yeah. So this is how I do it. She's a good girl. She loves her mama, loves Jesus, and America too. She's a good girl. Hears about Elvis, loves horses, and her boyfriend too. Yeah, yeah. It's a long day, living in a cedar. There's a freeway running through the yard. And I'm a bad boy, 'cause I don't even miss her. I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart. I'm free, free falling. So free, free falling. Running through the valley, they move west down Bencher Boulevard. And all the bad boys, they're standing in the shadows. Good girls, along with broken hearts, and I'm free, free falling. So I'm free, free falling, darling, free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, yes I'm free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, yes I'm right down over Mulholland. Wanna write write a name in the sky. Wanna free fall down into nothing. Wanna leave this world for a while. Free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, free falling, yeah. 'Cause I'm free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, free falling, falling, 'cause I'm free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, 'cause I'm free falling, free falling, falling, 'cause I'm free falling, yes I'm free falling, falling, falling. Well, I'm going to get a copy strike now, aren't I? So there we go. Free Falling, Tom Petty on the third capo. This starts in D, G, G, A. Now, before everyone goes, that might not be the right chords or the right key. It's the right key for me. Now, I know did the falsetto as opposed to bashing it out. But you know, it's late night, so I don't want to disturb the neighbours. Normally I'd be going and go mad. So if you ever come to see me at a gig, then I will actually sing it, obviously really loud. Hello, hello, TL. How are we doing? So if you just joined us, Tuesday Tunes with JP. Tuesday Tunes, haven't done a little while. We're back on Tuesday Tunes. So we're going to be doing stuff on Tuesdays a lot more now, I think. We got a lot more people joining in on a Tuesday, which is quite nice. So, you know, if you're not on an open mic night, which apparently is the universal or certainly the national thing in the UK to go to an open mic night on a Tuesday, it's really nice here. Locally here, there's an open mic night on a Friday, which I think is really nice. Then welcome. If you're joining in or tuning in, say hi in the chat. Tell me where you are and tell me what time it is there, because I'm just really, really nosy. Thank you very much for obviously tuning in. In a moment on Tuesday Tunes, we're going to break down what I just did and how I play. Free Falling by Tom Petty. But before that, then what we're going to do is, if I actually can find the right thing, that would be really useful. There it is. Thank you. This live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company. So if you have got music that you want to put out there, and even if you want to do a cover, you can do with DistroKid because they can get the license for you. So DistroKid actually is a music distribution company. So you can't just bang on sort of Apple Music Store and go, hey, play my stuff. You need a music distributor in the middle to actually give it to them so they can give it to them. But they can also push it out to loads of different places. So if you've seen any of my Instagram stories, you may know that I use my own music as the background to the Instagram story. And guess what? When people watch it, it gets a play, which is great. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you can actually put your music on there. And that's all done through DistroKid. So DistroKid charge you one price per year, which is a subscription of $22.99. And with the link that's in the description box, it's that QR code. It's also just gone in the chat as well. You get 7% off. If you sign up, obviously that helps me at no extra cost to you. Of course, in fact, it saves you money, which means obviously you can then start distributing music for the whole of 2024 and right up till March of 2025. So think about all the different songs that you could release and albums and live streams. You could just take a live stream and release it. And that's exactly what I did when we actually did a live stream like this, but with very different equipment, which is this. This is called Looping My Brain. If you go onto your favorite streaming site and go John Paul Looping My Brain, you will find this album and it's right there. There's all the tracks. And some of the people who did live streams, we just did a crazy live stream with a keyboard and with what did we use? The 505 Mark II and a synthesizer apps on iPad. So there we go. So yes, 4:30 p.m. Nice time in the afternoon. It's like, have we finished work or are we Skyping? It's nice, cool, fantastic. Perfect time. It's perfect time. Of course it is. So thank you very much to DistroKid for obviously sponsoring this live stream, by the way. I didn't quite finish saying that, did I? Oh, scan the QR code. I'm actually going to put it in the top, so it's always there. So there's even more information on the screen. There we go. And the other thing as well is, obviously at the bottom of the screen is this ticker that's going across, because it's 20% off all my courses right now to celebrate the end of spring. And you have to say spring with a r. Then I've got a code which is Spring 2024, all one word. Go to my website, johnpaulmusic.co.uk. Find the course that you like, the RC600, the RC500, even how to loop like a pro. And instead of $149, then you can get it basically for $119 instead. So obviously you can do that. There's also another code for it as well, which is loop like a pro. And you can do that as well. So yeah, there's loads going on. Loads going on, isn't it? So we go TL 10:30 or 10:30 p.m. for me. See, it depends. In the world, people freak out when British people go, oh, it's 11:15, as we're going 10:45, 11:15, apparently. So yeah, so 10:30. So it's an hour ahead. You know, you're in the future. That's cool. That is cool, I guess. Yes, you're in the future. Get us the lottery numbers, will you? 7:30 a.m. in Australia. Fantastic. Russell, welcome. Good morning. Definitely in the future. And you know, here's Teal going, yeah, I'm in the future. It's like, no, you're not. Someone's on the next day. They're in Wednesday already over there. So that's fun. What was I doing? Oh yes, I was doing this. Now, of course, I've played a full song, which is not mine. So I'll get a little message later, basically from YouTube to say you can't monetize this video. Oh well, but at least you can learn something off it. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down how I do Free Falling by Tom Petty. Do you know what? The AI in the algorithm's got so quick at it now. When I did the other one, there was eight different strikes that I got on one video. They're not strikes, they're just content ones, and it was just 8 separate ones from different songs, and it figured them all out. I was like, okay, I can't cheat this. So the nice thing about this is you can technically do this on a 1-track looper if you're careful. I used, again, 2 tracks. So on the Sheeran Looper Plus, you can do this on Nazi 500 and any track looper because you can just add on. So we've got a 2-bar sort of rhythmic strum to begin with, which is this. I do like the fact it goes from record into overdub straight away. I've had to press another button just to talk to you to turn it off, but I do like it because it just speeds me up, which is great. Anyway. So do you notice that I don't go or it's boring, right? So if I put something in it that's got a bit of a rhythmic thing in it where you actually give it a bit of gap, it just sounds a bit more interesting. Also, at the end of my loops, I give a little sign off. So you hear me go, ah, and it's just for me to go, that's the end of the loop. So it's a little reminder to me wherever I am in the 2-bar loop. So when you hear that, it's time to start playing, or it's going to come up to bar 1, beat 1. So. So this D, G, climb it down to A. Done this one a little bit faster, haven't I? And this is on the 3rd capo, okay? So with that being said, of course, normally I'm just using this looper to see how it sounds and just nothing else. I know I've added on the pedals and stuff, but I'm trying not to use any effects, any harmonies, just not any effects at all. So what I want to do is I just want to kind of just obviously use my voice. So this is the bass line, which obviously follows. Okay, so. So that's how it actually starts first. I'm not actually playing the guitar. I just find a reference, obviously, for the D. And then, of course, go into the first verse. But you could do this so many different ways, and so many people have, of course. But whether you want to build it up over time, or whether obviously you don't want to carry on looping and you want to just build it up over time, build a bit of a loop in. So let me, and then you can. I obviously add in loads of different things. So free falling, and then what I actually do, I do the undo on this one. So then we undo those harmonies. So you were just left with the bass sound, and then I can just on the second verse I can. Do sort of muted chords. Excuse me one sec. Okay, just checking something. Everything's fine. There's no fire alarm or anything. It's all good. So you could do it loads of different ways. So let me show you an alternative way, of course. It's just building all these bits and elements up, because you've got the free falling, gonna free fall in your sound. So you've got all these little bits. So when you actually go write down on a piece of paper and a pen all these different elements, you can add them in loads of different ways. So we could obviously go a little bit like this. Do that again, because I nearly pressed the thing then, didn't I? Let's do that again. Now the nice thing as well is having the solo, which is like kind of mute really, but the other way around. You can either solo or you can mute. So I've gone for solo. So I want to solo something. I just want to hear that. That's what I'm going in my brain. Just hear that, okay? And I've actually written it the wrong way around. You may have noticed. So solo B. Oh no, I haven't. I've written it the right way around. So solo B. So if I do that, she's a good girl, loves her mom. So could carry on with obviously singing it. Crazy about it. Obviously with a in-tune guitar, of course. But that beat's still going around in the background. So I can... And you can build it up that way. So the nice thing as well is the Ed Sheeran workflow, as it were, is not to turn things off, because nothing actually gets turned off. It just gets either muted or soloed. So with the Sheeran Looper Plus, it's just a slightly different workflow. Now, of course, you can mute as well. So instead, I've got these as solo. You could say mute, and that will turn that one thing off and keep the other thing going. So you could do it that way. And of course, when I do this with things like the RC600, you can actually, I split things up. So, of course, I split things up into multiple things, like even 4 tracks, which is really, really cool. TL says, when I play Free Falling, I usually towards the second verse, record the chords in and then the beat in my guitar. Then I clear the chords and go into, I See Fire by Ed Sheeran. I see that beat, but faster. Nice, I See Fire. That's cool. I like that. I do the chords at the end of the chorus and then the beat from the See Fire, but a little faster to fit the tempo. And then, yeah, I clear the chords and do the loops for I See Fire. I See Fire. That's really cool. That's really creative. Me likey. So that's how I do it. That's how I actually play it. So obviously take from it what you will. Of course, you can do it loads of different ways, as we've discussed. So there's loads of different ways to actually play it. Watching people smile, and they can stay for a while, but I find they all walk on by. It's effortless and free, but you don't notice me. As colors turn to gray in the cloudy sky. Walking around this town where you are, just walking around this town where you are. You slow down and hold my hand, and I can show you that it's not all bad, 'cause walking around this town seems to wear you out. You wanna stop and stare. It's like a social dare. A million people, but you're the one I see. So just kick off your shoes, and please forget about the blues. Smile at you, you smile back at me. Just walking around this town where you are. Just walking around this town where you are. Please slow down and hold my hand, and I can show you that it's not all bad, 'cause walking around this town seems to wear you out. Man decides to frown as his head drops down. We'll never know why or what he's done. There's no sense of pain as it begins to burn on down now. People run for cover. One kid thinks, hey, this is fun. Now the crowd stop and stare, treated as this kid just does not care at all. He's dancing in the rain, and they'll start to smile. He's walking around this town where you are. Just walking around this town where you are. You slow down and hold my hand. I can show you that it's not all bad, 'cause walking around this town seems to wear you out. You slow down and hold my hand. I can show you that it's not all bad, 'cause walking around this town seems to wear you out. Wear you out. So that's one of my own songs, which is called Around This Town. I actually built that around a 3-track looper. I keep hearing ringing because it's really weird. I think it's the guitar. Yeah, it must be. So that was actually built around a 3-track looper, and obviously I'm using a 2-track looper today. So this is obviously Around This Town, and the way I actually break this down, you may have seen there, this is one of the few tracks I actually start where I start by playing first, as opposed to putting down some kind of rhythmic strum, which is this. And that's actually thank you very much. And that's actually where I just start straight away, which means you get straight into the song. I'm going into verse 1. I'm watching people smile, and they can stay for a while. And then, of course, afterwards, this is where I start going, which confuses audiences because they can hear a guitar and that looks like I'm just doing strumming, so they get that I'm looping. And then we put in the beat afterwards, which ends up like this. Now there's a fundamental thing with this song, which is it changes chords. So of course this starts on C and it climbs up to G, which actually is the complete opposite of Whiskey Joe, which I didn't realise at the time because they've been written years apart. But there we go. I obviously must like that feel, that sort of progression. But there we go. But yeah, so when the chorus actually goes G, D, E minor, C. So then I have to turn off what I've just recorded. So on this one, track A is the chords and track B is the beat. So imagine we're coming into the chorus. So solo at B. Because it's 2 bars, ba. So that's the chords without me singing it, basically. So right there, that is the Ed Sheeran CD. By the way, can you notice how this is bouncing around every time I tap it? That's because it hasn't got the massive feet that the Sheeran Plus has got on to keep it sturdy. It's got no feet on it at all, in fact. So what I just did there was, it's very kind of you, TL. Thank you very much. If you want to go and hear it, it's available on all good streaming sites. It's called Around This Town by John Paul. So I've just got the beat going. Off, unmute, and then go. So this is how you can actually have a beat and then bring other things back. So it's kind of like you're stopping it because you're on solo. You stop it, and it's almost like a start all. So I've unmuted the guitar there. So I'll just mute it back again. So we've got the beat. I'll do this slowly. So they're unmuted now, and then you put that on bar one, beat one. You just do it faster. So if I go, if you do it in time, you go ba 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 like that. Just literally just can go across that, and then you're back into it. So that is my song, which is called Around This Town, and that is how I loop it. Welcome to Tuesday Tunes with JP. This is all about making songs, looping them, and then breaking them down. So that's why we call it Tuesday Tunes. And for those who've never witnessed that before, thank you for joining us. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for joining us as well. I'd like you all to just basically just look underneath the video on YouTube, and you see a big thumb button. If you give it a thumbs up, that would really help me right now, because that will actually send it out to people who go, by the way, this is live. Do you want to go and check it out? And then for the next hour, we may have more people to have a chat with. It'd be quite nice. So there we go. Have you ever had a chance to play with a TC Helicon Voice Live H1? Is that which one's the H1? And is this the C1 is the corrector, right? It's like the pedal I did a little while ago. It's the TC Helicon version, the correction one. Is the H1 just the harmony? It's the harmony one, right? It's just that's what it is. If so, then yes, because that's just a really simple. It's not the harmony mechanic or whatever it's called. It's not the harmony singer, is it? It's just the H. It's just the harmony. Does that make sense? Yes. If it's that one with the three little controls at the top, I have played with that. Something about TC Helicon. TC Helicon, obviously, it's a bittersweet story with TC Helicon because they started out as the arm from TC Electronics and the whole point of it was the vocal singer-songwriter side as opposed to the electric guitar side, which it was perfect for TC Electronics because they were like, here's our chips, here's our electronics, go for it. And TC Helicon was about 12 people in total. I think between 12 and 15 people. And of course there was Craig, who obviously Craig from TC Helicon, and the other guy that I can't remember his name, the bald guy, what was his name? Dave? No, it wasn't Dave. Anyway, I always remember Craig, sorry. And I probably insulted someone anyway, because I think he's still there. Craig left. So when TC Helicon basically got bought, and TC Electronics, they got bought and moved into a bigger company, and now they kind of do audio interfaces and streaming deck stuff, which is really a real shame because everyone loved the TC Helicon stuff, and they technically still sell it, but then everyone was waiting for the next Voice Live, Voice Live 3 Extreme. Everyone was like waiting for the Voice Live 4 or waiting for the new version of the Voice Live Play, and they've just never done it. But however, 15 years on, it's still one of the best harmony pedals I've ever had. The most natural sounding. And I can't let it go. I actually sold the Voice Live Touch 2 and instantly regretted it. It was such a fun little thing that it was on here, and I used the photo shoots from when I used it still because it was just a fun thing to actually just press while you and people could see you touching something that doesn't look like an iPad, so you could tell that you're controlling this thing, and it was a performance. It was really, really cool. The Voice Live 3, the Voice Live 3 Extreme, amazing. I had the Voice Live 2 and the 3. TC Helicon, where are you? Like come back, please. We'd love, and it's like no one has actually grabbed hold of that algorithm or whatever it is engine for the harmonies and replicated it such as good. I know Boss do, like they've got the V500, I've got a V500 here, and there are harmonies on it, and it's great and it is good, but there's just something about there's just something about the TC Helicons. I don't know what it is. So I still have a TC Helicon on my pedal board, the Voice Live Play Acoustic. It's had a blue screen a couple of times and made me panic. And the day it dies, I'll be very, 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 very sad. But it's still going. It's still going. TL, do you have any tips for how to go about writing chords for songs and basing songs around the loop pedal? I'm good at writing lyrics, but other than that, I'm not that good. So you're a poet, but you didn't know it. No, I'm joking. Sorry. Some of the best people who actually write stuff, they write stuff to melody lines. So whether he's your cup of tea or not, the best person to write sort of melody stuff was Elton John. So he would actually just, you gave him, his writing partner gave him lyrics and wrote the lyrics and then handed it off to, that person, so, to Elton John, and Elton John could just make a tune out of it. They were pumping tunes out. If you've ever seen the Elton John movie and the history of Elton John, they were pumping tunes out at a rate of knots. So, yeah, and before we carry on with that, let me just highlight this. This is perfect advice with Tuesday Tunes and JP. I never get rid of gear. Too much the charging of my so too much of the cringe of my missus, but my missus is fine with it, no problem at all. But basically, like, going back to songwriting, I mean, with Whiskey Jar, I had this idea of, like, I was writing about that, like, it's 2 p.m. and I am sitting at this bar again, wondering if the rain will ever stop. And I was going, it's 2 p.m. I didn't actually want it to just be 3 chords. I was actually thinking of wondering if the rain will ever stop. I was doing all this kind of stuff. And I was like, do you know what? Twist and Shout can do it. Why not? So it's 2 p.m. And all I would say is, if you're writing lyrics, don't have anything in your headphones. Don't have headphones on. Go for a walk, and just read out the lyrics to yourself while you're going on for a walk or something. It's it's getting brighter. It's getting nicer now. And maybe just start humming. I know that sounds really, really weird, but just start humming. If you can think of hooks and lines where you go, I've had hooks and lines and I've had lyrics and they just don't go together. And I've gone, oh, that could go well with that. No, it doesn't work. Whereas I've had other ones where I've just gone, da 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 da. Ooh, hang on. Da 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 da. And I'll just make up tunes. So I'll just make up humming tunes, and I'll use my phone. For those who know it, I use voice memos. And then you've got music memos, which is No More. And then there's another one which is called Tape It. Tape It's really, really good. So I did a video on Tape It for those who cannot get music memos anymore. If you don't know what music memos are, don't go looking for it because you'll cry because it was awesome. And it's you can no longer get it. But Tape It is a really good app for kind of just getting your ideas down for lyrics. It's a voice memos app for musicians, or for so it's really, really useful for that. And then you can just hit record and go. I've done that, like my day job. I've done that where I've just walked out and gone, oh, I've got an idea for this fleeting moment for a lyric or a melody. Melody lines are fleeting. Don't anyone ever tell you otherwise. They're fleeting and they won't last unless you encapsulate them. I know that sounds really out there, but they are. You'll all of a sudden you'll be like, ooh. Right. So now we've got this. I've just literally made that up now, right? Are we about to make a tune live? Oh, it's sad. I don't know. Could be like that. Or it could be happy. No. Okay. So that doesn't sound right. So this is what I do. You're literally witnessing me making up a tune as I go along. Now I go. And unto you, unto you. Okay, A minor. Ooh, E. Nice, because we've got A minor to E. That sounds quite nice. So, we're making a tune-up, and that's literally because we're talking about TL. Do you have any tips on how to write chords for songs? This is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing this right now. So, we need something different there. So, oh, I could go minor to major. F. Hey, F. So I'll just mess around with like melody lines like this. Okay, so I've got the lyric in my head, up to you, right? So I don't know why. It's up to you. And now I've got what rhymes with you. There's loads of things, of course. Please make up your mind, it's up to you. Please make up your mind and tell me if you never said before. I don't know if you believe that I don't know if you believe that I could be the one. Yeah. I don't know if you believe that I could be the one. There you go. So I'm glad this is a live stream because I'm going to go back and actually start making that a tune. And that's how I start messing around with tunes. Literally, I'll start making a tune and maybe go to the piano, go to the guitar afterwards. Or if I'm lucky enough to have a tune in my head in the studio, I'm too busy video editing, that I just go, oh, what's that? Oh. Or it's about high time I write about a certain thing. So for this one, it was like Whiskey Jar. I was like, I'm going to write about Whiskey Jar. So I started writing about it. It's 2 p.m., at 3 p.m. And the idea was like it goes into the open mic night. So from 2 p.m. till, close. So each verse is an hour. Okay. That's the whole point. So there's multiple levels of songwriting that I do. Whereas, like, for example, the song Around This Town, by the way, was actually written with a loop pedal in mind, but it was actually written about busking in Liverpool, because that's the biggest city nearest to me. Busking in Liverpool, which I do busking. And then I've got a looper on the floor and the heavens opened. So it's about busking in town and everyone just walking by. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's about that, people walking by. I've got lyrics all about basically, obviously, events in my life and obviously from people around me. So, of course, writing lyrics, if you're good at writing lyrics, that's great. Maybe start just humming and putting melodies to it. And then just match the melodies up to the books and books of lyrics that you've got, TL. I hope that makes sense. So there we go. Nice. I like this option. I have a Pocket 4-track as a notebook for this stuff. That way I can add the guitar behind it really easily. Have a look at Tape It on the iPhone and Android as well. Really, really cool, because basically everyone's got a phone in their pocket these days. And it's one of these things where you can do it. This is why I really liked Music Memos, which was made by Apple. It actually is taken elements from the GarageBand. And the great thing is, if you put stuff on it, it would figure out the chords for you, and it would also figure out the BPM and put a drum bit. The really clever part was you put a bass line and a drum beat on. It wouldn't put guitars on, but put bass line and drum beat on, and then you could import that into GarageBand, and it would be the same. So your your skeleton structure is already there. It was incredible. So there we go. James, interesting to me how others loop. Nice, cool, yeah, definitely. Those are people looping in lots of different ways. So, and obviously, there's a couple of songs, and I'll show you one of my songs. Oh, I can't. I've just remembered I haven't got a battery in here, and I forgot to put a battery in that one. I'll change this into Dad Gad at the end, and if I break a string, then so be it. And I'll show you one of them. Busk in the Rain is hardcore. Yeah, man, you got to busk in the rain. There was shelter, don't worry. But I did have a loop pedal, so I was panicking. And then literally it was kind of like under the, the hood of, there's in Liverpool, you've got this massive John Lewis, and then there's got the nice thing is they've got this sort of like amphitheatre setup, which is like the other way around, so it's not concaved, it's like over. And you can stand at the bottom there and busk to like loads of people while they're having their lunch. It's really nice. Liverpool one's really good for that. They've actually got busking spots that look like plectrums, and you could just sign up on their website and you can book. I think it's a 2-hour slot. And you don't get moved on by the police, which is really nice. Right, let me change this into Dad Gad. I used to do this all the time with one guitar, that guitar in fact, and the amount of strings. It was always the top one. This one's going to panic me now. Do it slowly. Ooh, wow. Okay. Just seen a message there. I'm going to bring that up in a minute. So, with plectrum in mouth, whilst I'm doing this live stream is sponsored. Sponsored by our friends at DistroKid, where you can release as much music as you want to, including covers, or maybe the tunes that you've made from your lyrics. Or because you wanted to see me about recording a song that I did with looping, I'm now retuning my guitar for you. So if you like that, then hit the like button. It's gonna snap. Oh! Why do I play in Dad Gad is a common question. Have you tried it? It's awesome. And have you heard it? I saw a comment before that I didn't actually mean to skip, but I saw something. Where was it? Someone said something about... There it is. It would be nice if you did a reggae tune on the Boss RC500. I could copy it and earn the money from DistroKid from it. I don't know. Okay. You ask. I don't know if this is classed as a reggae tune because I'm not a reggae player, but here we go. Reminds me of James Sit Down. And now you can't hear anything else, can you? I'm going to shut up and let this play 2 bars round. If you do something with it, you can obviously then tag me in it. There we go. I better put that on DistroKid really quick. as a beat. But there we go. Where were we? The songs I've written music to, I started by playing other songs. Yeah, same. So I actually sort of like, started my life off by playing what everyone did, play covers. And then you start kind of, making your own tunes from there, if you've been heartbroken or, if something in your life's happened and you start writing about it. And there we go. You're welcome. No problem at all. You're welcome for the advice. If you want to learn looping, then of course the other thing as well is I've actually got 20% off. That's ticker going across the bottom there. I've got 20% off all my looping courses, including, where is it? This one, which is how to loop like a pro. This goes from the very basics right through to some really cool techniques. It's actually 2 courses in one. So you can normally get it for $149, but you can get it for $119 with the code Loop Like a Pro. So that's there for you as well. That's also gone in the chat. It's also in the description box as well. Oh, one of my lights has just gone out. I forgot to plug it in. That's all right. You can still see me, can't you? Blinding. It's gone. Right. Oh, I missed the chat. So we were asking basically about, sort of like, interested about how James was actually saying there, basically interested to see how others loop, and that's fine. I actually created a song. In fact, I'm just going to change something. Give me one sec. There we go. And in the same time, by doing that, I managed to pull the guitar plug out. There we go. So I've created quite a few different songs, obviously, with looping involved. I mean, I've been looping for over 15 years. I think it's more like 18, 19 years now. So, excuse me. And all I want to do now is play James Sit Down. Anyway, so this is a song which actually, I'll give you a prime example of how this song was created. This song was actually created by going on holiday. Me and a family went down to the southwest, and we went down to a small town which is called Boscastle. Boscastle is a little fishing port, and they have a little sort of museum there. Because Boscastle is well known in the UK and certainly around that area, because there were 2 rivers that actually came together and broke the banks and flooded the place. And when I say flooded the place, I mean like the water was higher than this roof. And the amazing part of the story is people were injured, but no one died. And there's amazing footage. If you look at Boscastle Floods UK, there's amazing footage of like 6 sort of like helicopters kind of like literally lifting people off like roofs and stuff. It's a fascinating story, and that was really inspiring to me. So I didn't have the guitar with me on the holiday, but I started formulating the lyrics and started formulating sort of like this tune. All of a sudden, while I was actually doing that, this one phrase, this one tune that I started humming, I just couldn't stop humming for the rest of the holiday, okay? So it literally goes like this. That's it. That is the bass line to Boscastle. It ended up becoming the bass line to Boscastle. And then, of course, I started bringing that in. Now, when I actually made the song, I made the song with the looper in mind. So, of course, I was like, well, let's loop this. So I got back home and started going like this. Let's add our bass line. just started messing with it. Oh, Pierce is here. Pierce, how was the gig? Okay, so no, I don't normally take my looper on holiday with me. I normally take some kind of guitar, but not a looper. Why should I? I've got Loopy Player on my phone. I could plug it in there. So I could do that. But yeah, no, so I started, we're talking about obviously sort of making songs and how songs come from looping. So that one phrase of now on my effects processor, I kind of put it in a bass sound. So it's obviously an octave down, going boom, 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 boom. It was bloody good. They still cut the mustard. Nice. So yeah, basically I was able to just, from there, I started to sing about how the flood started. So from there it was kind of like, as the stream turns into ocean, boats rise and defy the tide. Okay, so that's how it starts. So if we go. So I've got this going around on a looper for a while, okay? To the point where you'd probably find it annoying. The stream turns into ocean, boats rise and defy the tide. Both of them look to each other, Valancy sees Jordan's eyes. Valancy and Jordan are the two rivers. Just a quiet and peaceful village, tucked away from the busy lights. Now they're thrown into the spotlight as the riverbanks burst their fight, yeah. Now the captors hover over to pick up the poor and the posh, and the country watches the horror as the cars roll around in the wash. They're facing fear and anguish. People feel there is no hope. Lower bridges rust, my friend. Look up and we'll throw you the rope. Now, I needed a chorus for this. Like a big rig punching through a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With luck on her side, she doesn't look back, but so you will live again. So that's the chorus. Now, of course, I changed the chords on this, but I can actually keep that do-do-do-do going or turn it off. It actually melodically works together, so it's no problem. So I can actually go, like a big rig punching through a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With luck on her side, she doesn't look back, but so you will live again. So it carries on from there. So there's another part where there's if you have a look at Boss Castle, there's an island just out of shore, and some people say it looks like an elephant. So the elephant in the ocean guards the harbour day and night. There's a place which is actually there's a major pub there which is called the Cobweb. It's Cobweb of Men, I think it is. Don't let this one event down the cobwebs of men. So I had integrated all those bits, and I wrote all these down, and then we looked at photographs afterwards. I was just finding that from there. So putting stuff from looping, and I've got a funny feeling, if I remember, I was using Loopy HD, and I actually put that and then with some headphones. I think I put that into Loopy. I think I've got it in Loopy HD. I'm using my phone as that camera, by the way, so I wouldn't be able to check right now. And it was the old phone as well. So that's kind of how looping for that started. There's another one that I use, which I did years ago, which is Old Hill. That's a loop, right? That whole thing is a loop. But it just started with 4, and 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And then when I've got that, I was like, ooh, does that harmony, does that third go or fifth go with it? So let me just erase everything. Sorry, you didn't know what I was going to. So if I go, and this is how it originally started. Obviously not like that. Let's do that again, shall we? That's it. Okay, that is Old Hill, all right? But there's so many different elements to Old Hill I've added over the years. So we won't go like this. Obviously in tune. And I started to notice things where there was gaps. You hear those little, like sort of like when those breaths in between actually fitted with the drums. And then only in the past couple of years, I've added that. Because I'm twiddling. Oh, Hill, so many worries, tales of conquerors and kings. And the song Old Hill was actually written as getting old, but I'm feeling about getting old and Old Hill, so many worries. So this hill has worries. But I'll talk to you. And I'll sit down and hear your troubles for a century or two. An old man who I saw once sat in the corner staring at his drink. His coffee is cold and half empty. Now, originally, the original part of that would actually change chords, and it would actually go like this. And he starts to think. Just as a little break. Sometimes I throw it in, sometimes I don't, because sort of from the song structure-wise, obviously there's this loop. If I then throw that in, It's not too bad. It's just that first chord. So I'd have to turn the loop off for that one chord. So 9 times out of 10 when I play it, I don't add that in, but I can still play. He starts to think, or he can go. He starts to think. Where have I gone in my life? 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 Where have I gone? So it carries on like that. So the thing is, you can obviously, the lyrics, of course, if you've got lyrics written down, and this is all stemming from what TL said about kind of like they can write lyrics but not writing tunes. That was literally sort of twiddling around and just finding the parts that fit with this. So, old hail, so many worries, but I'll talk to you. I'll sit down and hear your troubles for a century or two. It literally is the lyrical part of so it depends on obviously what you're doing. But the great thing is, of course, obviously with looping, you've got that availability to just go, let's just let that roll around for a little while you're writing lyrics and just you could hum over what you've put down, which is really, really cool. So obviously just wanted to address that. I just wanted to say about obviously, Tuesday Tunes with JP, just obviously talking about tunes and talking about how we make tunes. It's a great, great question, and it's a great, great conversational piece. Going back to busking, I did some busking in -4 in January once. It was horrific. On my fingers. I think it was just horrific in general. -4. What are you doing? That's. I don't know what possessed you to do that. Obviously, money. Also, January. I hope it was like January the 1st when everyone's like hungover and they've got like loose change in their pocket. So like, it's like January 1st and everyone's like, oh, Happy New Year, mate, I will tell her. Hopefully. Here we go. It would be cool to see a JP version of The Parting Glass. Okay. I don't mind doing a cappella stuff. One of my songs, I can do Old Hill a cappella. I've actually done an entire gig with Loopy HD and just a microphone. And that was literally it was the part of, there was other artists on, but it was a 40-minute session. So we go. Depends if you want to do some a cappella stuff. It could be cool, but you're right, Piers. Piers, you're right. But there we go. Piers does usually sing straight unaccompanied. So go and check out Pierce's YouTube channel and go and look at the live streams and some of the traditional songs that Pierce does. It's fabulous. Using Loopy Pro in a really, really different way, not using it in sort of like circular loops, but using it horizontally with just phrases, using it in looped phrases, which is really, really clever. So there we go. So yes, no, and we discussed this. There we go. So how many buttons am I up to now? I count 9. Well done, my friend. You're wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the encoder is technically a button that's 11. So there we go. So yes, I've added 7 buttons. Have I added 7, 6, 8? I've added 8 buttons. So you've got the looper, you've got the 2 pedals here, the play and the stop, and the record and the overdub and all that stuff. That circle actually is the encoder, as they call it. That is a button. So you can actually make that a button if you wish. Then you've got the FS6 attached, so a dual pedal foot switch. So you've got these 2. And then I actually just brought a video out this afternoon about this, which is the Morningstar MC6 Pro. Not about the Morningstar itself. I've actually done a video on it already. It's about how to connect this to the Sheeran Looper Plus. So this is 6 buttons doing different things like soloing. So let me make that a bit bigger. There you go. So you can do solo, sort of like solo A, solo B. So if we've got this going, so we're just soloing right now. Take the drums out, solo B. We've got an undo. And the great thing about that as well is I've also got this button which is change. So this is literally change from one phrase to another. And you can undo that one as well. So let's just undo that. So there's our 4 different phrases. You've got your basic phrase on each one, and then of course you can undo and redo each one. And then the one up there is clear, so I can clear the track. And this one is fade. And I've called it bye bye. And then we go, it fades out. The nice thing as well is, and you can actually do this, which is really cool, is right from everything being stopped, you can actually press that button and it'll just start fading in. Which is cool, man, because the thing is most fade systems need to be playing first, but you can actually go from cold, like as in everything's stopped, and that's fade in. And it counts in seconds on the screen here, on this little screen. If I do that the other way, it says bye bye on the screen. I don't know if you can read that. It's probably far too soon. So yes, so there we go. I, says TL, mainly a covers guy, because, well, I've literally just discussed, but I'm not good at writing chords. But I know that one day I'll be able to create songs with my loop pedal. Absolutely. That is the fundamental thing. A loop pedal is a massive creation tool, and it's a great scratch board for putting stuff down. There we go. You could mash that with... Could I? Are we talking about Old Hill, or are we talking about Boscastle? It's a bit weird. Old Hill. There we go. Man's gotta eat. I take it we're going for food. Have a good meal. There we go. So if you are obviously just joining us, then give us a thumbs up on the old sort of, social medias on this video or this live stream. That would really, really help. And more people can actually see what we're doing. In the meantime, this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company, which you can actually release as much music as you want to. So basically, if you want to put your music out there into places like Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Pandora, Tidal, TikTok, Facebook, did I say Deezer? I did. Instagram. Then you need a music distributor to do it. So the way DistroKid works is it's a subscription, so you just literally pay one price per year and you can release as much music as you want to. The subscription starts at $22.99, but with the link that's in the description box, it's that QR code underneath, and it's been that QR code the entire time. Then you get 7% off your first annual membership with DistroKid. The other thing as well is, thank you very much to DistroKid, by the way, for sponsoring this live stream. I should just bring that back. There's a ticket going on at the very bottom. The other thing I'm doing as well is it's 20% off all my own courses at the moment. So to celebrate the end of spring and the beginning of summer, which starts on the 31st, then I'm doing 20% off all my courses. That's the RC500, the RC600, and How to Loop Like a Pro. With the code SPRING2024, go to my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk, and then find the one that you want. And then obviously in the checkout, you can put the code SPRING2024. It's all one word, all in capitals. And then you'll get 20% off. It's as simple as that. A massive thank you to everyone who has already bought the course and supported me directly. And if you want to support me directly, you can obviously buy a course. If you don't want to buy a course, you don't need a course, but you just want to support me directly, you can join the YouTube membership, where you get videos early. You can also do a super thanks, and the super thanks is obviously a little bit like putting a thumbs up, but obviously giving the old busker a bit of a tip as well. So thank you very much to everyone, obviously, for your dedicated support. We are getting close to 25,000 subscribers now on this YouTube channel, which is just mind-blowing to me. And I'm very, very grateful for everyone. So thank you very much for that. Now, if you don't know what Tuesday Tunes with JP is, then hi, welcome to Tuesday Tunes with JP, sponsored by DistroKid. What we do here is we actually break down songs, and we actually I perform songs and I break them down. Now, I'm not saying this is how you should do it. I just say this is how I do it, and of course, take from that what you will. If you want to obviously utilize some of my stuff, of course, like how I've broken down like Tom Petty before, and then a couple of other tunes as well. Also, we've been talking a little bit about song creation, thanks to T.O.'s comment there earlier on, which is really, really nice. This thing on this side here, this is what we call a super chat. So this is a super chat which you can chat of on YouTube, on Facebook, we're live on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Twitch as well. Okay, X, Twitter, and X. So no matter where you are, say hi, say where you're from, and say what time it is there, because I'm really nosy and I want to know. In the meantime, right. What's this man's got to eat? It depends what you want from a looper. Absolutely. This is it. I like this because the thing is, this is why I'm into looping, and this is why I'm into the looping as a channel, because there is just more than one way to do it. Look at the way Piers does it. Look at the way I do it. Look at the way Carl Walkner does it. There's so many different ways to do it, and I think that's great. There's not one way, depending on what you're doing. And depending on what you need to do as well. So, Piers doesn't use any musical instruments in the sense of instruments. His musical instrument is his voice and his voice alone, a cappella, which is phenomenal. I use a guitar. Sometimes I'll play the keyboards with the other looper, and my voice as well. Excuse me. And then, there's other ones, that depending on what you need. So there we go. Right now, the RC600 is the way to go. Much cheaper with more tracks. And they said tricks then. It's got 6 tracks on it. And there are other loopers out there that are more expensive than others. It depends on also the big word for 2024 really is workflow. And it is about your workflow. What happens with your workflow? How you want to record your loops, how you want your loops to be stopped or muted. I think it's a really, really cool time. Interested to see where Looper Plus ends up after some firmware updates. Yeah, there was a little firmware update to it earlier on. I think they're bug fixing at the moment. I haven't had one. I've only had one. It's not really a bug. I think it's more just the way it works, which is if I record something and then I overdub, and then I say, right, that's the overdub done, you have to wait until the end of that phrase before you can undo it. If you undo it, it doesn't come back. It's like you've erased it. It's really weird. So hopefully they'll iron that out, because you almost can't be quick with it. You have to wait for an entire revolution for it to go, right, that's another level now. So hopefully, I've reported that through, so hopefully that'll be all right. But there we go. Yes, this is the thing. You don't need more tracks. It's lovely and it's nice. Most people will be happy with a 2-track looper. Most people are. It depends on what you do. So there we go. I've got my cymbals mixed up. Piers will be fine with that, don't worry. I think. So here's a track that's a bit of fun. See what happens when you change the tuning on a guitar? Goes all ski whiff. This is one of the tracks I do when we're live. I had a gig for a bit of a laugh and to make everyone dance a little bit. Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I also like cupcakes, eat pancakes, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, bass. Yeah, it's pretty clear, I ain't no size 2. And I can shake it like I'm supposed to do. I got that boom boom that all the girls chase. And all the right junk in all the right places. We see those magazines, work in that Photoshop. We know that stuff ain't real, come on now, make it stop. You got that beauty, raise your hands up. Every inch of me ain't perfect, from the bottom to the top. But my girlfriend, she told me, don't worry about my size. She likes a guy who is chunky to hold at night. That chunky, that chunky. No, I won't be no stick figure silicone Barbies can. So if that's what you're into, then go ahead and join the gym. Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I also like cupcakes, eat pancakes, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, Bringing booty Mac. Now I'm just stupid, then a witch is there. Nah, I'm just playing. I know I think I'm fat. It's cause I am, cause every inch of me ain't perfect, from the bottom to the top. But my girlfriend, she told me, don't worry about my size. She likes a guy who is chunky to hold at night. That junkie, no, I won't be no stick figure silicone Barbies again. So if that's what you're into, then go ahead and join the gym. Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I also like cupcakes, eat pancakes, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I also like cupcakes, eat pancakes, no trouble. All about that bass, So there we go. So that is obviously all about that bass by Megan Trainor. But we start off with this one. Boots and cat. Boots and cat. And then obviously we had these ones. This is D. See, this is what I like Dad get. That's A. And then it's just messing around with that phrase, that keeping it like muted. It's quite nice because then while it's muted, you can play over the top of it, so it does sound like a separate guitar. Get that chuggy feeling, like So obviously 2 different lengths there as well. Nice short beat. And of course, changing the lyrics slightly, so therefore it's more about me as a as a me eating cakes as opposed to all about that bass. Oh, the conversation's getting interesting in the chat. Let's go back through it, shall we? Yes. Now the thing is, one thing me and Piers had a fantastic discussion a couple of weeks ago. It's more than a couple of weeks ago now. If you don't know, obviously I'm wearing this T-shirt which says "How do you loop?" This is one of my T-shirts. I designed this myself, and we do a series called "How do you loop?" which is a podcast series here on YouTube, but also you can get it as a podcast. It's better to watch it as a video though, because there's lots of explaining and there's lots of visuals there. But if you haven't got time, of course, you can watch it as a podcast. And the last person who was on How Do You Loop was Piers Corley. However, we actually had this conversation beforehand, and we were talking about who we watch to get inspiration from on lots of different people. And one of the things as well is actually the beatboxers. The beatboxing world, whether you're a guitarist, but don't switch off at this point, because when you're a guitarist and you're a singer-songwriter and you're going boots and cats and all that kind of jazz, the people who do beatboxing, have a look at the YouTube channel called Swizz Beats. Not sponsored. They predominantly cover people who do beatboxing, but also they have the Loop Station Championships, which originally was designed through Boss, and now people use not just Boss pedals, but then the 505 was actually born for that, which is really, really cool. And there's amazing people there. Saro's on there, the MK14. There's all these different people who are amazing beatboxers. I'm probably doing it ill justice because I'm not mentioning enough of them. Have a look at Swizz Beats and just have a look at the Saro versus MK14 semi-finals, when Saro absolutely just nails it. And what's amazing about all this is they are doing the equivalent of like a club DJ sound with their mouth and 5 loops and some effects. Now what's really clever is, and this is the thing we were having a conversation about, is we as guitarists, for example, or singers and things like that, we use a little bit of effects, but we don't use loads. They use loads. They use so many of them, and I think it's fair to say that they use I've seen it where like the Boss one, of course, it's got like 3 effects, and then the 505 Mark II's got 4 effects for inputs and tracks, and they use them, and they use banks of them for one song. They use sort of like sequences and all kinds. It's really, really good. It's really good to watch. It's really good to just take in and go, how the hell are they doing that? And they're not using any instruments. They're not. The only instrument is their mouth. And yes, you can go la 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 la. But there's one way you can go but actually what you're hearing is and it's like an oscillating kind of thing, and there's effects in that, and they're just utilizing that to its best of ability. It's really, really good. So it's really, really interesting to see. Saro is just amazing to me. Rhythmind as well. Have a look at Rhythmind. As in rhythm, Rhythmind. Rhythmind's doing a series while he's at home at the moment, where people are actually sending him tracks, and he's actually replicating them. Like, can you sound like this? And he does. Some of them he makes in, they're even better. So there we go. And of course, the big ones, dub effects. Obviously, a great vocal looper. The other person, of course, for me, massive influence for me, certainly when I'm doing stuff with the keyboards and everything else, is Beardy Man. Beardy Man is a British beatboxer who then went on a massive journey with technology, made a thing called the Beardytron, which now is actually, I think it's 5 iPads, and he can create everything from his mouth, and he can do full nights. If you've never seen, he's done actually full DJ sets, and it's just him. There's no DJing, as it were. He's creating it all live in front of you. There's no backing tracks or anything like that. It's really, really cool. Personally, I like simple loopers. After saying all that. And I use guitar, mic, and I don't like all the pedals and stuff. The thing is, though, if you're getting what you want out of it, that's fine. The what I would say is, what was that? Sound like a tugboat. the fact is, there's a choice, and there's the really simple loopers out there, like things like the ditto loopers, the 2-track loopers, single loopers. Look at Ed Sheeran doing the track that he did on the Sheeran Looper Plus. It's a 1-phrase loop that he does. You need me, man, I don't need you. It's just a really simple loop, if I'm honest, and then he deletes it and then builds another one in between while he's absolutely battering his guitar. But it's a great performance, so you have to think of it like that. Carl's stuff is really, really cool. Have you? I hope you have, but have a look at episode 1 of How Do You Loop, because Carl actually breaks down how he loops, literally. And since that day, it's kind of like, that's clever. So I'll give you my breakdown. I actually use like an RC600, for example, and then I actually break down like loop 1 is the drums, loop 2 is the bass, loop 3 is harmony, right? Okay, that's how I do it. Carl doesn't do it that way. Carl does like his rhythmic thing, like his rhythm things on track 1. Then his boots and cats are on track 2, and then his hi-hats are on track 3, right? But then he's also putting chord information down on those tracks as well. So then when he's actually bringing all the tracks in, it sounds like a full band. But if he's just bringing like a bass line in, then you haven't got the hi-hats because they're not on the same track. So he splits his drums up across the 4 tracks because he uses the Headrush looper board. I'm really interested into what he thinks about the Looper X and whether he's going to migrate over or he's going to stick to the looper board. It'll be very interesting. So things like that are really, really cool because he actually loops like we do, but in a different way. So there's loads of variety, absolutely loads. What's going on? Oh, the Pete Box. Bless the Pete Box. The Pete Box has had a fantastic journey, and I bless the Pete Box. We're trying to get hold of Pete, and I was chatting with him last year about coming on to How Do You Loop, but it was so busy, such a busy guy, such a hard worker, and I tip my hat to you, Pete, because absolutely brilliant, and of course got some great fame from a certain show recently. So well done to Pete Box to Pete for doing it. Really cool. I agree with you completely, Piers. Beardy Man is on another level. All the stuff and improvised on the fly. What's really, really cool is like if you were to sit down with him and the people who've helped him develop that, it would take days to go through how each element works. He knows it because he's evolved with it. That's the other thing. Like he's actually evolved. If you watch the TED Talk from like 12 years ago with the original Beardytron and look at like one of the latest things when he was like gigging in Brighton like a month ago, it's completely different now. But and his technique for making sounds himself hasn't changed, but the way he processes them is different as well. And the way he goes, I'll make this choice. That's changed because of the way the engine he's using has changed. So it's a really interesting story. I'd like to get Beardy Man on How Do You Loop. I'd like to get Pete Box on How Do You Loop. I'd like to get Katie Tunstall on How Do You Loop. I'd like to get Ed Sheeran on How Do You Loop. If they're all watching or listening or just sitting there going, this guy with the looping every time, every week, get in touch. I'd love to have conversations with all 4 of you. So there we go. Oh, really? Interesting. I put that up and actually didn't read it properly. That would be interesting, because I know that he was talking about, or there was, he did consult with Michael regarding Loopy Pro. So we shall see. We shall see what happens there. That'll be interesting. Katie is actually my hero, and also my curse, because Katie Tunstall is the reason why I got into looping. Now I didn't realize I'd seen looping before, but I'd seen looping before, but nothing the way she did it on Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, on Later with Jules Holland, and me and my dad just went, what? It was flawless performance, all in one go. And the thing was, there wasn't like a load of technology around. It was just this one pedal, which was the Akai Headrush E2 tape delay pedal, which also has a looper on board. And that was it. I was like, I want that, and I just went and got it. I just went and I had to find, first of all, in those days, of MySpace one. I had to try and find out what pedal that was, and then went and bought one instantly. No undo, no redo, one loop. You could do unlimited. Well, you could sort of do unlimited overdubs. You could do overdubs, but it had, because it was a delay pedal, it would do feedback delay. So then, as you put something down, the last loop would actually get quieter and quieter and then quieter as you put more things on top of it. So you have to be careful with that. It had one jack in. It had multiple jacks out because of obviously tape delay jacks, which of course you could bounce things around. But if you wanted a microphone and a guitar in, I had to then get a mini mixer. So it was a pain in the bum as well, because it just wouldn't work as we now expect them to. I think for seasoned loop artists or people who are into looping, the caliber has been set very high already. So if you then bring a new loop pedal out, you expect it to do certain things. So if you then get a looper on something, so for example, I've got a little acoustic amp down there by Boss, and they've just thrown a looper on board. It's got no undo, it's got no redo, and I'm like, what? Why? Like, I might as well just throw the RC5 on it. You know, it's so it's I think for loop artists, it's one of those things where we expect quite a lot now. So anyway, I digress. But yeah, Katie Tunstall, massive hero, and it's all your fault, Katie. It's all your fault. It's your fault. Moving on. Yeah, so this is obviously going over to Beardy Man's stuff, possibly an integration of a bunch of other. I wonder if he's going to integrate into Loopy Pro. Oh, good. I'm very glad. Thank you very much, Eric. Yes, Carl. Obviously, he was the guinea pig. He was the first person who was to be interviewed on how do you loop. So bless his heart for obviously taking the time to do that. It was really kind of him. And he's got some absolute golden nuggets of advice there. So go and have a listen to it if you're on the podcast, or go and watch it because I put up a lot of visuals to explain what he's talking about. So hopefully that helps. I think it's Loopy Pro plus Ableton, a config management tool he's been raving about. Interesting. Mr. Man of the beard, please get in contact and talk to me. That'd be quite interesting to talk to you about. There we go. Yeah, there's so many artists. So if you're not familiar what Later is, from wherever part of the world you are, the BBC did a series which has been going on for years, and I think it's going to hit. I think it's just hit 30 or maybe even 40. Not 40 years, surely. Maybe 4 years. 84. Yeah, 40 years. Later with Jules Holland, and Jules puts on a load of different artists, and then go and have a look at the Katie Tunstall performance. That was her first TV live performance, and then she just blew everyone away with it. It's absolutely fantastic. So guys, what we're going to do is one last push. If you could all just do a thumbs up for me on the video just underneath it, obviously just to send it out to the algae rhythm, the algeo rhythm. That'd be really, really grand. And the other thing as well, of course, as you can see at the ticker there, 20% off all my courses until the end of this month. We'll put that up again next week when we do another live stream. We're going to stick to Tuesdays for our live streams. So Tuesday evenings is better for me. It works well for me. And also it works well for the people in the US of A. And it's not 3 a.m. In Australia, which is great. So Australian Ray was happy last time, so I was quite happy with that. Thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this live stream. Please, obviously, scan the QR code, click the link, or click on the link in the description box below or in the chat. And then, of course, if you want to learn looping, then you can actually get $30 off with How to Loop Like a Pro as part of the 20% off for the Spring 2024 collection. Should we call it that? So obviously, that's gone in the chat as well. And then, obviously, you can get it for $119. Guys, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And if you're watching on the replay and you've got questions, we're going to actually come back next Tuesday. But obviously, put your questions in the comment section underneath. Go and watch How Do You Loop. I've been telling you to do loads of things. You're going to be so busy. And then obviously we will see you next week. Thank you very much for obviously everyone's comments and obviously everyone joining in on the chat. It's always great to chat. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. It's over. Goodbye.